Hey.
I am very sorry about this. It will get put on our main page. But Facebook have accused me of hate speech. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I know the good algorithm.
Well, do you know what the hate speech was? I shared something from the EFCC website, Instagram page on Instagram.
I figure most of that is, again, the accounts that obviously you speak out against. They have all their fake accounts go report you, and that's what causes that issue, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you know, they listen to them, you know. Anyway, lovely to see you.
Oh, I know.
I've got a question for you before we start this, because your username on here is the Angry Hippy. I've never seen you angry.
No, I've definitely had my moments, but yeah, usually I try not to be.
Because I sort of see, you know, what things you put on and everything, and I'm thinking, you're the most unangry person I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's, again, Instagram always puts people in a good light. I try to share more than just that. I definitely have my moments, but yeah, most of the time I do pretty well, yeah.
So, tell me about scams.
All right, so my first interaction with the romance scams, the impersonation, stuff like that was probably, well, it's over a year now, so I've been doing it for a while now, but the big one, last year, I went to log into my account because I use it for a multitude of things. But I went to log into my account, and as you've heard countless times before, it pops up, says, hey, you got to log in. You go to re-log in, and it says, your account's been locked out for impersonation. Yeah. That's always a weird thing to hear, you know, since I'm me. It's yeah, you know, and it's like, what do you do? So I followed through the normal steps that, you know, Instagram and all that suggests, and as you know, that gets you nowhere. You report 1,000 times, have all your friends report. Luckily, I had, you know, off of Instagram, I had contact with some people. And then basically I went almost a week or over a full week with it being shut down because of impersonation, because of an account that had stole my pictures and used it and had only existed for a couple months. Which was funny because a couple of the people I knew actually got friend requests from them and all that. You know, they try 100 different ways. And then finally somebody had suggested reaching out to you guys, and, you know, you guys helped me out huge, got my account back. And since then, I haven't really had any issues with it as far as getting my account locked out. Hopefully Instagram put a little check mark and said, hey, you know, leave this guy alone. He's
well, that's right. A bit optimistic.
Right, yeah, no, definitely. I know you guys get shut down from your lives, obviously, like today. They block all kinds of stuff. And again, it's just that computer. They don't have people sit there and look at it enough, which kind of makes sense. I mean, there's a ton of people. You'd require a ton of people to review everything, but at the same time, you shouldn't offer a service and then, you know,
that's what I was going to say.
Support these.
Yeah, it would. I mean, how much is artificial intelligence costing them? You know, because it's not working. I don't think it's ever going to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Anytime there's money to be made, somebody's going to figure out a way to make it. And again, that's what these romance scams are all about, is just people making money. So
do you get contacted by women, you know, where they've...
Yeah, I actually recently, I just had someone who had messaged me that they had been contacted several different ways through a couple different apps. I've had quite a few women contact me, and even a couple guys message me and go, hey, found your real account. I've had people from Facebook, TikTok, all kinds of different dating apps, all that stuff. And they just kind of reach out and go, hey, just so you know, there's someone impersonating. And all I can say is,
you know,
report them and block them. Yeah, there's nothing else I can do about it. I was thinking about it, and the best analogy I can come up with is basically like I'm a cab driver, and somebody's getting in my cab, and I'm driving them to commit a crime, and I'm not aware of it. So then I, you know, just go do my job, and then these people are using me as an accessory, basically. And it's one of those, like, what can you do?
It is. I mean, that, you know, that is a very good thing to say, because what we get all the time is, that's one hell of a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Gee, I've got a neat little glass here.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, and people say this all the time, and they'll say, why doesn't he put a stop to it? All of you youths, they'll say to us, oh,
Yeah.
why doesn't he put a stop to it? Oh, well, I'll tell him, because I'm
Right.
sure
Oh,
he's never
that's a
thought
great
about it.
idea. I wish I would have thought of that.
You know, and it's like, obviously, and people do not understand how you can't put a stop to it, but you can.
Yeah. So even if, as of right now, I deleted all my accounts on any social media I have, even if I did that, the impersonating accounts, these fake accounts that use my pictures, I mean, they have pictures from years ago, you know, from starting the account. So all the time, you know, I'll be reporting pictures that are from a year or two ago. So in my mind, my understanding of it is there's, so I'll put it this way, I'm a little over 4,000 followers now, 7.3 last time I checked, 7.3% of my followers, so roughly 400 of them are out of Nigeria. My largest city following is Lagos.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's kind of funny because obviously I'm huge. I'm huge in Nigeria. Big support over there.
Actually, we've got 3 before Nigeria, but on our website, every single week, it's 4th most interested.
Oh yeah, I've already blocked like 5 people today, and that's part of it that really sucks about it is, again, I'm sure I've blocked legitimate accounts that just look, because you know some people just aren't great.
We've actually, look, David, we've got a Nigerian, Joe Olua.
Yeah, I was doing the other week we had Memorial Day here in the U.S. I walked about 17, 18 miles or whatever for it. I like to do something special on that day because, again, I am prior military. And while I was doing a live there trying to get some extra motivation, I had 2 different Nigerians request to go live with me. And it's just like, come on, man, I get it. Like, it's a joke to them, and I get it. One of the things I think about all the time is I don't sympathize for them in any way. That's they're still committing a wrong. But there's 2 different types that I see as far as these scammers. There's the ones that are just in a crappy situation, and their buddy came to them and said, hey, I know a way to make easy money and provide for your family. And again, while it's still wrong, it's still taking advantage of people, I understand that out of necessity, maybe they feel this is necessary. That, again, it's still wrong. They still shouldn't do it. They should still find an alternative method. But I can understand why a situation might cause someone to feel that they need to do that. Again, still not condoning it in any way. It's still wrong. It still needs to stop by all means. But the people that really get me, and I know the ones that bother you too, are the ones that, again, these are doing it and then they're not providing for their family.
They're just getting
trying
rich.
to help somebody out. They're walking around with stacks of money and popping bottles and buying expensive stuff and bragging about how the funny part to me, because at this point I screenshot them, I make fun of them. They go through and they like my comments or like my pictures and stuff on occasion from the profiles using my fake stuff, which obviously whatever. Most of them aren't even good at it. That's the scary part. They're not even good at it. It's blatant.
I get them all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, that part of what bothers me is, again, the people that are doing that. When they're going through and just, you know, blatantly, they can't even use their own pictures.
No,
they're stealing somebody else's pictures. They're stealing someone else's personality.
Because I'm in the age group. I'm a 65-year-old widow, and that is just perfect for them. So they love me.
Well, first off, I absolutely love telling people that you know, these lovely ladies from the UK have this little group, and they go up against these Nigerian scammers, you know, and they're battling across the world, and you know, governments barely do anything because you know, legalities of it. So it's always funny going, you know, hey, these guys are getting punked out by
little grey-haired old grannies. Tell the truth.
I love it.
Yeah, and you know, I get it that they're poor. I've not been to Nigeria. I have been to Ethiopia, and I've seen poverty. And it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking.
Right.
If you want to feed your family and you want to steal to do it, go and rob a Nigerian shop. You know, the thing is that gets me. It's the lies and the trust. Because, you know, they're scamming some really nice people. And these people trusted. And so I don't care if they have to feed. I had one, and I've just shouted at him and got rid of him. I had one this morning who was using his own picture. He wasn't going to scam me. He was using his own picture. And all he wanted to do was feed his wife and 2 children. Ever so sad, really sad. So I scrolled down a bit, and outside his house, it was awful. Inside his house, a little way down, he has a lovely, great big flat screen TV on the wall, you know. And then, you know, after a while, he asked me if I would help, because they never look. I've got UK on my Facebook account. Would I help him get to the USA and get him a job? And I said, all 4 of you, that's going to be a bit difficult. Oh no, my wife knows that it's something I want to do. So he was quite happy to leave wifey and 2 kids in Nigeria, this awful place, he was telling me. As long as, so I said to him, I said, well, I'd have a good look, because it's got the United Kingdom flag on my profile, you know, and I blocked him. But yeah, so I can see it. And also, you know, I do get the ones, you were aware of the ones we get, where they get 6-figure sums. And they get people totally believing them. And these women, you know, they part with the money because they believe and because they trust, and they're ruining lives.
So I actually do cell phone sales here as my full-time job. And no joke, I had a lady come in, and she said, you could tell right off the bat, we obviously in cell phone sales, we get trained for fraud and stuff. You're talking, you know, $1,000 phones, whatnot. So it can happen. And then obviously working with you, seeing the stuff that you put out, the information you guys put out about romance scams. But I had a lady come in and she said, hey, I want to get 4 iPhone 12 Pro Maxes. You're talking $1,100 phones right off the bat. I said, oh, okay, like that's not unheard of, but that's interesting.
You see your commission go down this.
And she herself pulls out a very inexpensive phone and is then asking for 4 $1,100 phones. So I go, okay, something's weird. So I start asking questions, just, you know, making sure I do a good job. And I said, hey, is this for family or something? She goes, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. And then she starts typing on her phone. So obviously talking to someone not present. And I said, hey, you know, by all means, would you like me just to talk to them so you don't have to be the middleman? Like I can just talk to them and figure out what they need. And she goes,
oh, I've lost the sound. I've lost your sound. What's happening? I can't, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you at all. Oh. Nothing I've done. Yeah. Damn. Try again.
We back?
Oh, we are.
There we go.
Yeah,
all right.
So
sorry about that. I had somebody call and
Yeah.
So basically what was happening, I said, hey, we don't have them in. Yeah, I said, we don't have them in stock. I'm going to have to send them. And she goes, oh, that's going to be an issue because they're overseas right now. And obviously, boom, huge red flag pops up. And I was like, okay, so can you just tell me the situation? What's going on? Let me help you out. And she goes, well, they're doctors. And right off the bat, I'm like, okay, all right. So four doctors, a doctor and it was 3 or 4, but a doctor and 3 or 4 of his colleagues are asking you to come in, buy 4 or 5 $1,100 phones and send them overseas. And she goes, yes. And you could see the wheels start turning in her head. I go, ma'am, have you ever met these people? She goes, no. I said, have you FaceTimed? Have you seen them? Nope. I said, ma'am, not to overstep. Obviously, again, that's my full-time job. You know, I can't say certain things, but I said not to overstep. But that sounds like the definition of a romance scam, ma'am. And she goes, oh, and it kind of just clicked. And the whole thing is once it's put in that perspective, people, you know, some people, which I know you've dealt with some people that just refuse to believe it. Because again, like you said, they're in that vulnerable state. They're lonely. They just want to grab onto that. Hey, there's someone out there that wants me, that cares for me. Like my love is out there. That's totally understandable. It just makes sense. But once I mentioned it and put it in that perspective, that lady realized, hey, you know, something's going up here. So not only does it take place on Instagram and these other social media, but all the time. And literally, you know, not only have I directly seen it because of my Instagram impersonation, but like people walking into stores, buying stuff and sending it to people. And it's one of those, hey, take a step back, think about it.
It is. And you know,
Why
when they say it to somebody else, it's like if somebody said it to them. If somebody said to them the same thing, they would think, oh, there's something really strange there.
Right, yeah. But they're in that state. They're in that vulnerability, yeah.
And so, and the woman, of course, that woman would have ended up having to pay for those phones because, you know, the doctor would have been coming. The doctor would have been coming to her by the end of the month, and he was going to be paying for them, you know.
Right.
And it's just awful because the thing is, people blame themselves. They always blame themselves, you know. Has anybody blamed you for it?
So far I haven't. I know some people receive
very bad.
Some anger. Yeah, there's some very sticky situations. I know some women refuse to believe it and accuse the person and whatnot. Luckily, I haven't. I'm pretty open and honest. I even have it in my highlights on my Instagram. You know, hey, read this, and it kind of talks about how I got locked out, how scammers use impersonation, how you guys got my account back. I mentioned something that I think is very good to put out, and that's, you know, I'll get to the hey, you know, I can't talk on FaceTime here in a second, but something that's very important for anybody, even not dealing with scammers, even just dealing with a weirdo or, you know, verifying in person. So the thing is anytime you ask somebody, say, hey, I know this sounds really weird. I think you're amazing, and I think it's too good to be true. Can you send me a video and say blank? And just send me a video. And we've seen the voiceover videos that are obviously hysterical. Like, they try. I'll give them that. They try. But
I love them.
But if you just say simply,
I love them because the voiceover videos they send to us, and it's been the voiceover video that's convinced the women that it's a fake because, you know, they're so bad. So I'm a big fan of those. Yeah.
But I love just saying there's been people, because again, at this point, I lose a lot of trust in smaller accounts because I don't know, you know, if they're fake, if they're just bad at social media, if they just like a small account, like, I don't know. So sometimes what I'll have to do before I can converse with someone is say, hey, I know it sounds silly, but do me a favor, send me a video of you just saying the word pineapple or, you know, whatever. And it sounds silly, but it's just like if you go set up accounts on a lot of social media or a lot of different dating apps or something, they'll have you do a simple verification. And that's all and going back to sales, in sales, if you ask somebody something and they're legitimate, they have no problem answering, even if it sounds silly. It's no problem to answer. Now, if they're doing something with ill intent or something shady or whatever, they're going to go, oh, well, why would you ask that? And start getting upset because you're on to them. So if you ask somebody to send a video and say, hey, I know it's silly, do me a favor, just send me this video, and they get upset about it, first off, there probably wasn't anything there anyways, even if they were legitimate. And secondly, if it was a scammer, they're going to go, oh, I can't, and come up with some fake excuse.
I've seen a lot where they say things like, well, if you don't trust me, honey, if you don't trust me, I think I'm going to have to leave this relationship because you just don't trust me. And
that's called social engineering. Yeah, that's social engineering is what that's called. And that's using your emotions, that's working against you. Honestly, it's borderline with, you know, in a long-term relationship or a relationship, that's mental abuse. That's something that people do in that term.
People talk a lot about coercive control. And in real life, if you have coercive control, people don't like it, they recognize it. And I've just asked Joe to check somebody that I didn't realize was real, and it's one of your friends. You've got...
but that's what I'm saying. It happens all the time. I'm sure I've blocked countless legitimate accounts because, again, if they look weird, I just don't take the risk. But yeah, it's one of those, again, it sucks.
You get a lot of them come to us who made an account to come to us because they don't want the scammer to see that their account. So
Oh,
So
that's
then
it.
you've got to
I
really
think
talk
after
to them,
going on
because
here,
you look at the account and think, oh, that person's not real, or this looks a bit, you know,
Mhm.
and they are. When they talk to you, you realise they are very genuine people, and
yeah,
you know, and it's fine, and they make you. I've never been good at taking things at face value, but they really make you
right.
mistrust everything, you know.
Yeah, and that's the one of the most shameful parts about this is, again, I'm just a guy. I put out some videos. I put up some pictures. I'm just having fun on social media, and you'd think that's what it is. But again, then there's always people
But it's
ruining it, and it's such
2021.
a silly.
It's what people do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they go on TikTok, and I hate TikTok, and do videos.
TikTok's a joke. TikTok's a joke. One of my friends got banned from posting videos because she posted where she was doing her eyebrows and accidentally shaved one off, so she had to shave the other, and it was hilarious and it was so funny. And they blocked it because of minor safety,
No.
safety for minors, because she accidentally shaved her
Well,
eyebrow.
it
And
could
TikTok's a
probably be
joke.
self-harm. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's a bit like us getting blocked for, oh, I'm going to have a big complaint about this later. But yeah, I wish we knew how to do something. I really do, because what happens is
Yeah,
we get people afterwards.
unfortunately, again, it's just up to what you ladies are doing, which is informing people about it, just letting them know that this is a thing and this is what you need to watch out for. Because again, people, they just get on and they think, oh, it's a social media app, it's silly, you know, it's just for fun, and they don't realize that there's people out there that are predators that do take advantage of people. Multitude of things, romance scams, creeps, all
Everything.
kinds of stuff out there. You
Everything.
know?
I mean, you can't
Yeah.
sell anything.
That's why, like I said, the biggest thing before somebody sends money, before they send, I know you guys make people aware of blackmail because, hey, if you send some naughty photos, you know, it's out there, be aware of that. You know, it's one of those things, just putting that information out there, making them aware, hey, if you do choose to do it, by all means, but just know these people are out there and you could be talking.
I had a lady this morning, and she'd had a little bit of, you know, online sex with her fella. And she was mortified. She came to us and she said she was a victim of sextortion. And I said to her, I said, well, you know, you didn't know him. And she was complaining because she hadn't given him permission to record what she was sending him. I said, it's a scammer. He doesn't need your permission. And she got mad at me because she said,
laughs at you asking for permission. Yeah.
She got mad at me and she said, well, that sounds as if you're blaming me. But I wasn't blaming her. I was trying to point out that the person she was doing this with was not a very nice person. And because of that, yes, he's going to, you know, he's going to video it. Whether she gave permission or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but criminals don't care. Yeah. And not only that, it again, the enforcement that they're going to receive is nothing. Like the reward that they could get is way outweighs the risk that they're facing. Because again, of all the things that are going on in Nigeria, the romance scams are one of the least to worry about, which is sad because again, that money, obviously that money goes into all kinds of criminal organizations and different things. These small guys that are going out there making these accounts, pulling in money. I'm sure some of them do it independently, but the majority of them, they're part of a bigger crew. There's money going in.
We follow, well, it's Sophie, one of our ladies, she follows quite closely on Telegram. She follows their like tuition hustler groups and things like that. The oldest, greyest haired granny Yahoo boy that they've got. And she just follows them because she just looks at the tuition, she looks at what they do and who they're getting in, and this sort of thing. And they are getting people in to join them all the time.
Again, it's one of those things where if I come over to you and I say, hey man, I see you're in a tough spot, you want to make some easy money just playing on the internet? Again, why wouldn't they?
And they do. And, you know, but they do come and say, oh, well, you know, Nigeria is a terrible place. And yeah, it is. But, you know, you're not helping it. But it's the effect on other people. If they want to go out and rob a shop, if they want to go out and rob a bank, I've got no qualms with that at all. They can go and steal whatever they like. It's the effect on people. And you see, you know, it's a violation of the woman who's being scammed. It is a violation of your freedom. A big violation. You know, that it's all right, this woman said, oh, he videoed me. and I didn't give him permission. You've never given them permission to take your pictures.
Right. So specifically, I've said, please don't.
Well, yes.
But obviously,
yes.
I'm very aware they're not going to listen. At this point, all I do is I'll screenshot it. You've seen a couple times. I'll make fun of them on there. Because, again, they're going to do it either way. I already said, even coming on here, obviously, the ones that didn't know about me are going to find me and go on because I know they stalk this page. And, again, it doesn't bother me. It's one of those things. Because, again, shut down my account. I already know who to get a hold of. They're going to get me back up, you know? So... And not only that, it's silly. The one thing I will say is obviously it's silly when they get our accounts, the people they're stealing our information from. It's silly when they get us, because why would you get rid of the cow when you could keep taking the milk? You know, like, so don't mess with us, because then you lose your source, when I know there's countless others they can go to. But the worst part is yeah. The worst part is there's just nothing. I have two options. I can continue doing what I'm doing and knowing they're just going to steal it anyways, or I can block and go on about it and, you know, go through everyone that follows me and whatnot, and block and verify and, you know, do this. And it just drives you crazy, as you know. And that's what I did for a little bit. And I actually deactivated my Instagram for a while because I was just overwhelmed. I had some personal stuff going on. I was constantly getting hit with these scammers and, you know, whatnot. But it puts me in a difficult position because, again, there's nothing I can really do about it other than just give up, which I'm not going to. But there's nothing I can really do about it. And then luckily, like I said, I haven't been contacted by anybody where it's went through properly, because, again, a lot of these guys are just so bad at it. I make a joke all the time where I'm like, hey, guys, if you're going to do it, at least do it well. You know, they love making me a real estate agent out of Kansas. I'm like, guys, I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know how
I've seen you on a couple of oil rigs as well. You've been in the Gulf of Mexico, and you were in the Gulf of, you know, sort of Saudi Arabia area.
So that actually makes me think.
I will say you were gay.
Countless people have said. Yeah, right. But I know countless people have said it before, but again, I'll say it too. In the military, listen, you have the MWR, you have Wi-Fi on most of the time. There's generally one situation where you're not able to contact anybody. And in that point, you're not going to be able to text either. And that's if a soldier dies, they do a blackout, or something big happens, they do a blackout. Social media, you don't have internet access, you don't have any of that. And that's just until they inform the families of what's going on. In that case, it's not only I can't FaceTime you because of that. You want to be able to message because of that. You want to be able to text. You want to be able to chat. You want to be able to do any of that. So again, getting that information out there that, oh, I'm a lonely soldier who can't talk because I'm on a super secret mission and blah, blah, blah. First off, if they're a legitimate guy saying that, I don't want to say bad words, but they're probably a dummy. Yeah. That's the nice way of putting it. And then if they're not legitimate, again, that's how you'll know. Also, because again, nowadays,
you know, you said that about
I was deployed to Iraq for a full year.
About the blackout?
I was in Iraq for a full year, and I still had Wi-Fi access anytime I wasn't out on mission. So
yeah, I mean,
it's not a big.
You know, they'll say to people. I mean, all of you guys say about this military thing that if anybody tragically is killed, then they have a blackout. But what we try to get over to women is that the scammer they'll come to us and say, oh, it was awful because I felt really sorry for him. He lost 3 of his guys, and that's why he wants to leave Syria. He lost 3 of his guys. He wouldn't be telling you about it.
Right. Yeah. You want to be telling you about it. Even if he was, honestly, that's just not a thing to do. Like, it's not a good thing most people would do. And yeah, it just, even so, when you're on orders, it's not one of those, hey, I've lost some people, I'm ready to go home. That's not how the military works. We don't need money sent to us. No. When we're deployed, we make tax-free money. When I was deployed, I made more money than I probably made in my life. It was pretty good. You know, so we don't need money. Our food is free. Where we're staying is obviously free, although questionable conditions sometimes. But we, you know, the military is its own organization. We never go in need. For the most part. So we're not going to message someone and say, you know, hey, we need money for night vision goggles or something stupid. You don't need
replace the weapon. Replace the weapon will always be my favorite. I've lost the weapon
yeah,
and I need to replace it.
First off, if you lost it, you'd want to replace it because that'd be a very bad day. But that's not how it would work. You can't just go over to the armory and buy a new one for them. No. So if you lost the weapon, the last thing you're doing is getting on the internet asking someone for money to replace it.
So what I'm
going
to ask you now is the basic questions that I know the answer to. But if I ever need to play this back to anybody, it's going to help. And that's, you're not on an oil rig.
No, I'm not on an oil rig.
You are not a real estate person.
No, I barely know how I bought my house.
And there are no circumstances in the world that you would ever ask anybody for money.
Generally, yeah. So yeah, no, I don't ask for money even if I'm in a tight spot. Honestly,
I don't know anybody.
That's probably a character flaw that I'm very prideful. I don't do that.
I don't know anybody. Everybody is the same. That if you needed money, the last thing you would do was to ask somebody that you'd never met.
Yeah. Listen, you see my page. I have a side hustle that I do that Instagram doesn't like. I am an ambassador for a supplement company, Bucked Up Subs. I do have my Cash App and stuff on there if people just like me and want to send me money. I have a link tree full of different ways to make money. I have a full-time job. I'm all right. I'll make my own money. I don't ever ask.
And it's the last thing you would do is to go beg somebody that. And for my last question, you don't go around Instagram or Facebook or dating apps contacting women. All men.
No, generally, as you've seen, I'm somewhat of a feminist. Actually, I generally, even if there is a woman that I would like to pursue, generally I don't, because I honestly feel bad for women, because when I came out as bi, which happy Pride Month, but when I came out as bi, I actually started getting kind of that, I got a taste for what women endure from men, and I didn't like it. So I can definitely say that while you also see my post where I talk about working on myself and things like that, the last thing I'm going to do is contact a woman and say, oh, I'm in love with you, this and that. Trust me, the women I care about very personally in my life, I still barely say, because I have commitment issues. So no, it's not going to happen.
I honestly think most of us do. I honestly,
it's just not a normal thing for somebody within 5 sentences to say, oh, I'm in love with you. You're the one.
It's not
gonna happen.
Not normal. I can't see you saying to somebody, I love you very much, honey.
Right. There's very few I've ever said
but
that
it's
to.
Still
and it won't be.
It's honey and baby and babe, and
Oh, this is my favorite giveaway, and for those of you watching, take this as a tip. When they say am real estate,
yes,
that's my number one giveaway. Am honest, am real, am 100%. Like
no Americans.
You am not anything. You am an impersonator because you're too shameful to even use your own profile.
Yeah, I mean,
this is my one statement because again, I know there's probably some watching. You are so ashamed of who you are and how you look that you steal other people's pictures and information and pictures of their children, and you use them to scam lonely people out of money instead of figuring out a way to bring some sort of honor to your life and making money to provide for yourself or your family. That is, I don't know how you can't be ashamed of that every night.
I don't know how they do. And, they're very religious. No, they quote religion.
No, that's also, I don't know if you saw my story the other day. So homosexuality is viewed very poorly in Africa. There's actually laws against it, very, backstreet stuff that goes on very poorly. So it makes me, the irony in the fact that these guys have hundreds of pictures of me shirtless, looking good, trying to show off, saved to their devices is hilarious, because all of those men have tons of pictures of scantily clad men on their devices. And that's irony.
This is personal to me. What gets me is, the app Grinder is just full of scams, basically. And now, if they've got, say you, just for the sake of argument, they've got you on Grinder with your shirt off and all, and they're sending out to other men to scam men using your pictures. Now, what gets me about that is they would be they would hate you. They would hate the person that they are scamming a great deal, because homosexuality is not accepted there. And I'm sure some of them are, but they would never, ever dare come out and say that. So what makes it worse is the fact that they are treating you and him with contempt. You know, and I think that is I just want honesty. I really do.
Yeah, and again, that's the irony, is almost always in their bio they'll talk about how real they are, whether on the fake account or on their real accounts. They always talk about how real they are. That these people are the most unreal people I've ever met in my life. There's nothing real about them. They're not tough. They're not hard. They're not doing anything. They hide behind other people's pictures because they can't even be themselves. What's real about that?
No, it's really bad. So anyway, thank you. And I'm gonna try and email somebody now about this.
No problem.
About getting and we got the thing this morning about, you know, our hate speech, which which wasn't hate speech at all, which was just a notice from the EFCC. So I'm going to do something about that now, I hope. But no, thank you very much for taking the time.
No problem
to
at
do
all.
it.
I'm glad I got my chance to say my thing. And again, I'd all those guys that are going to watch. And
they will eventually when I get it to a place where we're going to get plenty of viewers. But yeah, and it's important that people speak up, you know, because
that's what I know we'll get off here soon, but that's what's crazy is, again, Instagram, they don't give any type of warning about scam accounts, romance scam, because obviously they're looking at it all 100% from a business aspect. And what that means is that all those fake accounts are still new accounts for Instagram. That's a win for Instagram. The scam accounts, that's people messaging on Instagram. That's a win for Instagram. All it is Instagram, hey, we don't care because we're still fine, or Facebook, you know, hey, they're fine. So again, to them, it's not an issue if a couple of people get scammed out of some money because they're still doing great. But again, even a simple warning popping up on occasion saying, hey, this is a new account, because again, after you get, I think it's 1,000 followers or something, it pops up on your page saying, you know, hey, this is when this account was created. This is, you know, how legitimate they are. But basically what they need to do is have some sort of warning saying, hey, this is a new account. This is an account from overseas. This is, you know, something. Because again, you can't tell me with all the artificial intelligence and stuff Facebook is pumping money into, you can't tell me they don't do this. Actually, a couple years ago, I'm not sure if you're aware of, they actually had a feature that was geo-blocking. So you could block. Now, obviously, they'd use VPNs and stuff like that. There's always a way around it. But you could block locations. If I went in there and I picked a block,
I can't on Instagram, but I do on Facebook.
So you can on Facebook? I don't mess with Facebook, so I do have a Facebook profile, but I'm never on there. So
you can on Facebook. You can't here, but you can on Facebook, which is really good because we block it from all the people that, I mean, they use VPNs, but on the whole, no, we don't get a lot of them, you know, which is really good. But what gets me is if I was some agency and I was buying some data from Facebook, you know, and I got the data of 20,000 doctors in Yemen, I don't think I'd be very happy, you know, because they've got these demographics that are all fake.
Yeah.
So what good is that to anybody, you know?
I agree. But that's what the one downside of them following my page is. Again, I pride myself on legitimacy, whether it's a good thing I have to own up to or a bad thing. And the one thing that's annoying, because again, overall, they don't really bother me. I laugh at them because it's pathetic. But, and I'd feel for anybody who did send money or whatever. But again, there's no accountability for me. That's not, I didn't do any of those actions. But I forgot where I was going with that. I have so many things. I've talked about this so much that there's so many things in my mind where they're going. There is. Either way.
You know, you talk about the iPhone 12 Pro thingies. And, you know, Nigeria must be drowning in them because we hear so many where they've actually had, well, we had one lady who sent, now you're gonna know how much this account has left her with. She sent 20 iPhone 12 Pro Max and 20 MacBooks. I thought about 40 grand. I'm not that far out of it.
Oh yeah, no, that a minimum of 40. Yeah.
She'd set up a couple of credit cards and given him access because he was coming home to pay for them, and she sent it.
Right.
You know, I don't get it. I don't trust anybody, which is awful.
And that's the sad part that I've picked up. Again, I feel it makes me feel racist because I'll see a profile from Nigeria and generally, you know, I'm like, what if this is a legitimate person that likes my fitness or wants to see lifestyle over here in the US or something? You know, what if they're a legitimate person and because they look fake, I block them? And honestly, that sometimes that doesn't sit well with me.
I'm
so yeah, it's just
I don't have them. I don't allow them to bother.
Trust. Yeah, the breaking of the trust that we're allowed to have as people and trust other people. And you know me, I want to give everybody their dues. I want to be a person, spread positivity and kindness. I want to do those great things. And because we can't trust people, because again, there's so many fakes out there with ill intention, it's a very sad fact. It's very sad.
It is, and they're bringing it on themselves. You know.
Yep.
They just.
That's my thing. Is these guys just don't have any pride where they're from. They don't have any pride because again, you know. If you are proud of your country, if you are proud of where you're from, if you're proud of your culture and your people, why would you represent them like this? You know, like why would you? And I'm assuming that there are people in Nigeria, there are people overseas that do find this incredibly shameful, that do say, hey, you're shaming us, that do say, hey, you're making us look bad, you're making us look like criminals and stuff.
There are ones that wanted sorting out. The funny thing was, in Ethiopia, is if anything happens, if anything goes missing, or you know, anything at all, if they're shortchanged or anything, they'll say, oh, don't look at me, I'm not Nigerian. So it's a joke, right. You know, in the east of Africa, the west of Africa, that, you know, they are known throughout Africa as being crooks, basically. And it's awful. It really is awful. But they can do what they like. They can go out and they can rob each other. Right. They can rob a bank. They can rob a shop. I really don't care. Just leave our people alone and stop using other people.
Yeah. Like I said, it's one thing if they were trying to do this with their own pictures, their own accounts. But again, they're again, they talk about being real, but they're so cowardice that they can't even use their own stuff.
One thing a Nigerian really wants to do is to marry an old white, is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And so you get this age is just a number thing, you know. So like me, mm-hmm. I will get like 25-year-old Nigerian who hasn't been able to go past my beautiful picture. Right. And let's see. I mean, I see where this will take us. Yeah. You know, come on. Can you see me marrying a 25-year-old Nigerian? And it's sort of, unfortunately, even using themselves, they'll get takers, they'll get women, and you know, after a short while, they want money, they want cars. I know they're asking for as themselves, but they're still going on people who are very trusting and very nice people.
And that's where I think the only thing we can do to curb that, to lower that, to help people deter that, is again what you're doing, which is why I think you guys are amazing, putting that information out there, showing that it is not only a thing, it's a very common thing. It's sadly common. And again, if you're a trusting, kind person, you're gonna be a victim, and that's a shame. It really is.
This is what I say. Only nice people are scammed. They've never got me because I'm not nice. So there you go. So I will say thank you very much. And, you know, we'll just all keep working towards it. You keep putting those lives up and we'll see. Yep, no problem at all. And I thank you and the people you work with for doing this. Because, again, I know from just my view alone, it's tiring as hell. I can't imagine on your side. Emotionally, it's draining as well. Because you do get quite wrapped up.
It really is.
You know.
Well, and that's the thing is I don't really deal with too many of the people that have came across accounts. Generally, they're very kind. They say, hey, just so you know, obviously I can see, you know, I have years of information. I go on story all the time. I talk all the time. so they can see, hey, this is the legitimate guy. And those ones that find my account see that. They have been very kind to me. They do understand, hey, they just stole your information. Here it is. So far, I haven't had anybody upset with me, so I haven't had to deal with that. But I know you guys deal directly with, hey, I was scammed. Hey, I am upset. So yeah, I can only imagine. So I appreciate
it. Is. I gets me very angry. But anyway, thank you very much, and thanks for
no problem
changing over at the last minute. Anyway, you have a good rest of your day, because it's nearly 6 o'clock for me now.
No problem.
Nearly gin and tonic time.
Yep, there you go. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Yep, bye.